Hello all, welcome back to Shaving with Peg Leg. Appreciate you all being here. My regulars and the new subscribers, thank you all for showing up. Sorry about the noise. I have to have the fan on high because it's hotter than hell in here. It's like 86 in the house and we don't have the AC on because it's not that humid and mom gets cold easy, so. Old people, no blood. Today, the third in the Four Horsemen series. Famine. That's the pour. You can see where I scooped around the edge. It just took out a little bit. Interesting note. This one's not as dark as War. War to me was just all metal. If you've ever worked on a car and you've had a handful of tools or two handfuls of tools, and you just had that one wrench you can't hold, so you stick it in your mouth, or you're under the car and you don't want to lose the wrench, so you pop it in your mouth. That taste of steel, that's what War smells like to me. Some people say it smells like cilantro. I do not get that at all. I wish I did. I wouldn't mind some street tacos, but I get steel mainly off of it. All right, the notes: rose, jasmine, vanilla, and cedar enfold the core. Chypre note, the blend of citrus resins and moss. Like I said, the citrus resins and moss are on the label. That's the base for all four of the scents. This dust, I don't know how you make the scent of hunger. Citrus, resins, and moss. That's Will, Barrister&Mann. He's that way. We're using second use on the Wilkinson blade I used the last time. This time we're using it in the Hungry Razor. I forgot to look up the measurements on this. I think it's a 1.25 millimeter blade gap on this, but you can see it's huge. Huge. That blade gap is a monster. That's why that razor's hungry for blood. So that's why we're using it. So let's get on with this. Hope everybody's doing well, having good shaves. I'm really enjoying this set, and we've got it whipped up in my Q-shaped stainless steel bowl. It's like 10 bucks. Comes with a stainless steel lid too. There's no grooves in the bottom, it's just a smooth bowl, and I'm using my $10 eBay Badger brush. That's some metal that's chrome plated. I do like this brush a lot though. For as cheap as it is, it's a great brush. Adjust the fan a little bit so it doesn't dry out the lather. Again, when I do this, I get that scent from this soap for a good almost 24 hours sometimes. The steel, you guys know I wipe down. And the soap that was on this, when I rinsed, even after I rinsed it off, my bathroom, since the time, I've set it on the side of the sink to dry out until I cleaned these washcloths this morning. Until that time, from the time I shaved, this whole bathroom smelled like nothing but steel, metal. So if you have a mustache or goatee, go ahead, put your soap right in there, even though you're not going to shave it, so you can smell that scent of your soap for hours afterwards. Okay, first I'm going to use this. Just to cleaning up my stragglers. There's some here too. If you didn't hear that, I said I have some here too. Okay, here we go. The Yaqi slant. See what it did? My fans hit my face. But if you don't have a fan hitting your face, you won't have that problem. It's also hitting the wall right to my right here and coming back on me. That Knight's helmet got me pretty good right there, though. I was expecting I'm going to open that back up with this razor. Okay, I have to look something up because I totally forgot what it was. October 25th, 1415. Yes, we're going back in history a little way. To the Battle of Agincourt, as you probably remember from school or otherwise. It was a big English victory over a much larger French force. The French had, depending on the account you look at, between 12,000 and 15,000 troops. A lot of it cavalry. And the British had anywhere between 6,000 and 9,000 troops, depending on who you look at. But all accounts agree that all but about 1,000 of the English troops were longbowmen. So if they had 8,000, 7,000 were longbowmen. If they had 6,000 and 5,000 were longbowmen. And the English longbow in its day was nothing but field artillery. It was the king of the battlefield. It had such long range and penetration power. And the British were fleeing back to English-held territory in French, Calais, to rest and regroup and feed the troops because they were hungry. Guys were dying of starvation, exhaustion, everything else from fighting battles with the French. So they were just basically retreating, but their way got blocked by between 12 and 15,000 French. Well, the English, not British. The English had to reestablish their position because their position was undefensible. So they reestablished their position between tree lines so that the cavalry couldn't encircle them. The cavalry had to come straight at them. And it also made it hard for troops to go in between all the trees to get to them. And they set up their stakes, they had the long pointed stakes like that to torque cavalry charges in front of the archers. And they got them set up, and the French, instead of attacking while they were setting it up, decided to wait and attack after they got it set up. And the field was muddy because it had been raining. So now you got French troops on horse, and the horses only had armor on their heads. They didn't have the full plate like sometimes you'll see in pictures. They only had armor on their heads. And the English were dropping arrows in on them. And the French were in full plate mail. A full plate mail was good against archers on the breastplate and the helmet, the top of the helmet, the front to the top of the helmet was strong enough for arm, but not the limbs. And the horses were taking a lot of the arrows. in the flanks, in their sides, in their necks. And they started pitching their riders into the mud. Now these guys are wearing 50 to 60 pounds of plate armor. And they're trying to slog around in the mud and get up. A lot of them were trampled to death. A lot of them suffocated because they were pushed so far into the mud by fleeing horses, or horses that were behind them coming up in front and stepping on them and pushed them into the mud, and they suffocated. Now you got the French ground troops, the men-at-arms, coming in behind the cavalry trying to attack. And they're trampling on these knights. And the French men-at-arms were also wearing armor. Now they had to slug a couple hundred yards through the mud to get to the English archers, to get to their position. So they're wearing 50 pounds of armor, and they're slogging through heavy mud. So every step is a freaking nightmare trying to take. And they had to keep their visors down because the eye holes and the mouth hole were the weakest part of their helmets. They had to keep the visors down to protect their face, and they had to walk head down. Well, it restricted their breathing and their vision. They couldn't see what they were doing. And they were stepping on guys that were falling ahead of them. They were getting hit by arrows. And it's just a nightmare. They were slogging through all this, and they were just getting annihilated by these longbowmen. So the longbowmen are just raining death down from the sky. So the French men-at-arms slogging through, and they finally get to the archers, and they're exhausted, and they make their way through the stakes, and the archers drop their bows, pick up axes, swords, and mallets, and way into the men-at-arms, the French men-at-arms, who are exhausted. And once the French men-at-arms got knocked over, they were just too tired to get back up, and they just got killed laying there. Some of them just suffocated because they got smushed into the mud, whatever. They just got annihilated. Now, the reason this story is so good is the French, prior to the battle, had let it be known that any English... Did I get myself there? Or is that just a shadow? Can't tell. I don't see any blood on my finger. Let it be known that any English bowman caught and captured, turned prisoner, would have his middle finger cut off. Because they would not be able to draw a bowstring then. If you cut off the index finger, you can still use these two fingers to draw a bowstring. But if you cut off this one, you can't draw a bowstring. So they were told they'd be cut off this finger. And after the battle was over, and half the French forces, between 6,000 and 7,500 French troops, are dead on the field of battle. And some accounts, English casualties were listed anywhere between 112 and 1,500. So somewhere in that range of British died. But after the battle, the English longbowmen all saluted the French with their middle finger, which is very popular today. In other words, to say, we still have our fingers. And that's where that comes from. It's an act of defiance. It's a F you, I still have my finger. And the English had captured so many French during the battle that King Henry said, or was it Richard? I think it was Henry. Said, kill them all. Kill all the prisoners except for the highest ranking ones, the lords and the barons and whatnot, because they outnumbered the English troops still, the amount of prisoners. So they killed all those so that during another attack, they wouldn't take up many of the arms just laying around the field and start fighting the English with them. That is a cut. There, now I got blood. Not bleeding, I'm not shaving. Especially with these last two razors. So yeah, that's where we get this from. We still have our middle fingers, we can still draw a bowstring. I'm BBS up here. One more swipe on the neck. There we go. I'm not going to have any soap to wash my face though. Not a lot anyways. You see how much I'm lacking there. This is an interesting scent. It's not that dark. It is dark. Don't get me wrong. But it's not that bad. It's a good scent though. I've liked all of them so far. Still got some right here. Jesus. Come on, razor. Or is it just my fat neck that won't? Put some slickness down there. Okay, I don't hear any more cutting there. Hear it cutting still? Now it's gone. Yep, now we're BBS. Alright, now I'm good. Let's see if we can get some, squeeze some out of it. I knew that brush was hiding some. I knew it. Give yourselves a nice face wash with your soap. Let some of the oils from the soap condition your skin a little bit. After the shave. Let them soak into the skin, revitalize it after dragging sharp steel across it. Yes, you're going to have your post-shave routine, but a little extra does not hurt. But after the battle, the list of French dead was a who's who of lords and barons of the French. It was just, there were so many leaders, rulers, barons, lords dead on that battlefield. And even you had the ones that were saved from execution, but still it was just a list of who's who of French royalty. It was horrible. I'm gonna use alum block for sure. Now the French king, was it Louis the Sixth? I have to look it up. and I can't find it. It was Henry V of England. I'm sorry. Alright, it was Henry V that led the English. Wow, what did I do over here? Told you, that thing's hungry. It wants blood. It was Henry V. I'm sorry. I had the wrong king. My bad. Henry V. And Charles VI of France. Now, Henry V actually fought with shield and sword in the battle because his younger brother had taken a hit to the groin. It was down on the battlefield. So Henry grabbed his personal guard and went and surrounded his brother laying on the battlefield and protected him until he could be dragged away back to the baggage train and attended to. And Charles VI of France did not fight in the battle because he was back in Paris or wherever the hell his throne was with mental disorders and mental disabilities. He was cuckoo in the Cocoa Puffs. So he was not in the fight at all. But Henry was. Henry drew blood. Now, the English baggage train did get attacked by the Count of Agincourt and his followers. And the English, I keep saying British, I'm sorry, the English thought that they were getting attacked from behind, but there was a monk in the baggage train that told the troops that it was just a small raiding party, and they attacked, and they got away with one of Henry's crowns. But it was not really a planned attack, as in it wasn't part of the French overall plan. This guy just happened to see that there was an advantage to be taken, and he took it. He took some personal leadership skills, and he attacked the baggage train because he could. But other than that, it's just complete rout of the French. And they outnumbered the English so badly, and they got so butchered. But the French were so confident that they were going to win the battle that they put out that any English bowmen caught would have their middle fingers removed, cut off. No, we still got them. The splash. Oops. Famine. Tell you the truth, I'm trying to figure out what I'm picking up off this soap. Let me see. I don't smell dust. I don't smell hunger. I have no idea what hunger would smell like anyways. I'm not even getting the citrus resin or moss. I'd say jasmine, cedar with a hint of rose. There's a lot of jasmine in the splash. There's a lot of jasmine in the splash. Matter of fact, that's the front note on jasmine. And then the balm. So let's see what this has for us. There's the moss. Just a hint of citrus. but the moss is definitely up front for me on that. I want to put that on my head, and my head is nothing but sweat. Alright, so enough of that. Anyway, let me put these back on. Alright guys, so to all you French, we still have them. Anyways, I want to say something. I was a little hard on Germany a couple videos ago, 2-3 videos ago. I was a little hard on Germany. When I thought about it after the video, I looked around at this country and I was like, we're no better off. We're being nutted as in this country too. Telling little boys that they can be little girls, and telling them when they're 7, 8 years, 9 years old that if you want to become a girl, we can cut your junk off and you can become a girl. I don't know when society as a whole across this world took such a downturn. I really don't. It's pathetic. Yes, I know. So anyways, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. You get to hear rantings of an old man. Hey, and we're not grumpy. You always hear the term grumpy old men. We're not grumpy. We're just at the point in our lives where we're old enough that we're tired of being nice to people when they're dipshits. And we're speaking the truth now. And we're not holding back anymore. That's all it is. We're not grumpy. We're just tired of holding back and being nice to dipshits. That's all. So anyways, thank you all for being here. Appreciate you being here. Thank you to all my subscribers, every one of you. Don't forget the affiliate link when it hits $25, which we're close. I'll get a $25 gift card to the razor company, give it out to you guys. Don't forget the 4 links that I'll post in the description box. Check those guys out. If you're not a member, please subscribe to them. Let's just, my little channel, just trying to boost everybody's numbers the best I can. That's all I'm trying to do. So I appreciate you being here. Thank you very much. And with that, I will say, we're done with the babbling fat guy in the camera. You're in the chair next. Happy shaves out there.